players, but for Roma Damie, it is the biggest game of his season to date. He needs to put in a huge performance and knock off one of the biggest names in competitive FIFA if he wants to join Team PS4.
A good omen for Roma Damie, though, is they have played each other before this season in Atlanta in the FUT Champions Cup February, and it was in Swiss, and Damie won 8-1. So at least he knows he can get the job done against MoAuba, but this seems like it's a little bit of a different feel. This is a different MoAuba at this tournament. But you're right, Mark, this is going to be a very open game. Damie even stated on Twitter, I don't like low-scoring games, and I know full well MoAuba doesn't like them either.
We both know that these players love to score goals. They love to flow forward, and they love to see that net rippling as far as goals are concerned. And it's a little bit of a slow start here between the two players. You can see they both like to move the ball quickly from midfield into those front players. However, they like to sort of move it between the strikers, the cams, and those wide cams. As we say, a little bit of a hesitant start. Maybe that knockout feel really starting to creep into the minds of these players. MoAuba with the first chance of the game. With R9 on that left foot, just a little bit high of the goal.
Something MoAuba's done very well all season is finding cheeky ways to score goals. I remember tracking back all the way to Paris Games Week, the first event of the season, and MoAuba was showing everyone how to score from corners, and everyone was like, oh, okay, so this is how we're going to score for the remainder of FIFA 19. Then, of course, patches came in, and MoAuba worked out several different ways. He's very good at just putting the ball in the back of the net, and I think that's important as a player. If you know how to get the job done, you're going to get the job done, and you're going to have high-scoring, fun-watching games.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about MoAuba as we just see him going forward here is he's always been able to find ways to score goals. I mean, going back to something you were talking about, you know, corners, he was also one of those players who, you know, the first time finesse, he was one of those players who really exploited that early on and found a way to score there. And as other players have kind of seen what MoAuba's done, they've been able to adjust their game to his. And he's kind of had to reinvent himself a little bit now, but there's a bit of space out wide here, and if Damie can find the ball back into Mbappe, he might have a chance, but that is a wasted chance.
Yeah, you'd expect better, to be honest, at this stage in a tournament. If you want to be able to progress to tomorrow, you have to do a lot better. And MoAuba making an interesting decision there. I don't know if he thought he was offside, but he's tried to play the ball back, and that has not worked out whatsoever.
There's been a couple of interesting decisions. Maybe we'll put it down to nerves, maybe we'll just put it down to both players, you know, just getting things a little bit wrong. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And now we're going to see a switch of the play here as Mbappe might use that overlapping run, but instead Damie goes back inside, and look at the run outside here, takes it first time. Good block from the defender.
And watching on, Footwiz Marco, who's currently 16th, is out of the competition. He'll be hoping that Damie is taken out and he is defeated by MoAuba, because there is a scenario where everyone who currently is in the top 16 stays in the top 16, providing that everyone outside of the top 16 loses their matchups. And considering the names that are still left in this tournament who are still in that top 16, it is highly likely.
Well, there's space here for Alexandre on that left-hand side, and he's trying to feed Neymar, and he found him as well. One Brazilian finding another there, and it will be a corner here to the Roma man. Put into the middle, Van Dijk will get up, but it's straight down the middle of the goal, and straight down the throat of Edwin van der Sar.
Sometimes you just wish it was Cristiano Ronaldo in those positions, but the majority of the time, Cristiano Ronaldo is being marked from corners, so now you are having to look at those other really tall, impactful players from corners, the likes of Hullet, the likes of Van Dijk, so I can appreciate Damie just trying to pinpoint someone else rather than going for the normal Cristiano Ronaldo.
And nearly 30 minutes gone here, and a little mistake there from MoAuba, just caught dwindling on the ball, and is he going to be punished for that by Damie? Great pressure from him. Havertz now. A little cancelled croqueta there after the first one, looking to get the space to maybe release one of the strikers, but unfortunately for him, well defended there by MoAuba. Well, that's certainly something we'll keep our eye on, the defending of MoAuba. We know how good he is going forward, but can he defend as he gets in behind here, but cannot find someone with a pullback?
I mean, just as I was talking about him not searching for Cristiano Ronaldo, I remembered, of course, Damie's not playing Cristiano Ronaldo in his lineup. He opted to take him out. Instead, he's got Havertz, he's got Mbappe, he's got Neymar, he's got all the other pieces to the puzzle, just doesn't have Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, look at Ruud Hullet. He's having to track the run of Neymar in the middle as Eusebio's doing some fantastic work here for Damie. Almost managed to get around the outside of Da Costa, but that's a lot more easier said than done. Good build-up play here, and we've got Dr. Nightwatch in my ear here, so reminding us all that Damie's season started pretty late. It was Atlanta where he really kind of announced himself with a performance to be noted. Well, speaking of performances, look at Neymar go now, just shrugging off Virgil van Dijk. The shot comes in from Havertz, and it's the first goal. And it's MoAuba, the left foot, finds the top corner, and there's the celebration we know and love.
Just a raise of the fist. And it was just a nice and simple finesse shot as well, paying homage to the original finesse meta. It does still work out every now and then if you can get into the right position with the right player. And MoAuba is going to take this lead and blow this game wide open. Damie has to come back at him. He can't afford just to sit back and allow MoAuba to attack, because otherwise he's going to find himself 2, 3, 4 down very quickly.
And just a reminder, if you're watching now, if you're watching for the first time in competitive FIFA, 16 spots are available. For MoAuba, he's got his spot on Team PS4 lockdown. However, Roma Damie needs to go further in this tournament. Needs to pretty much go all the way if he wants one of those spots in our grand finals in London. So for him, this match means everything. He will win a free kick here. Patrick Vieira getting a little bit too physical there.
I mean, a victory here would take him into that top 16. He would actually leapfrog Footwiz Marco, but then of course there are other competitors still in the tournament who could take that 16th spot. So realistically, he has to be looking at the latter stages of the tournament.
Well, here's a free kick then for Damie. Maybe he can create something here. Will it be short? Will it be tossed into the box to be contested for one of those headers? Neymar makes the run off the ball. It is a short routine here. Van Dijk into Vieira. Plenty of men behind the ball here for MoAuba. Sandro manages to squeeze the ball into Eusebio. Let it run. A beautiful move here from Damie. Gets the second opportunity, and he takes it with both hands.
And when you get presented with an opportunity like that, you know full well you have to put it away, because if you're missing chances, you are going to struggle in the remainder of the game. We're all tied up between these two. And it all did stem from that set piece, really. It was a little bit messy in some areas, but you can see the pass and move style that Damie is trying to attempt here. A little bit of fortune, well, I'm sure he's not going to mind. He needed it to get back into this, otherwise you never really know how a game's going to go against MoAuba, because he does have tendencies to run away with them.
I mean, I did love the build-up play that led to that chance. The little dummy just on the edge of the 18-yard box, created space initially. The block, as you say, got a little bit fortunate for it to fall back to Neymar, but he made no mistake. And making mistakes is something that we've seen has already cost players at this stage in the tournament. But here's MoAuba, done 3 steps in just before the half-time whistle, and well, it was action-packed. There was plenty to talk about in the break, but we are at half-time and it's tied up at 1-1.
Very back and forth. I mean, not really much passing around the back four and slowly, methodically building up. Instead, it's just attack, counter-attack. And you've got to be dangerous. You've got to be careful, sorry, when it gets into a situation like this, because it can be dangerous as you can get almost lured into just repetition of, okay, I have to attack now because my opponent's hitting me hard. You can slow it down. I think if you gain the lead in a game like this, you have to slow it down. Otherwise, it can just get out of hand. And you can see there, Enzo just having a few words with Damie, and Rachel mentioned it on the couch. Enzo coached F2 Techs last weekend in Hamburg. I mean, how valuable do you think he is as a coach right now?
I think he doesn't have his little red book with him this time that he had for F2 Techs. However, his stock is rising. Every single tournament that we see him alongside one of the competitors that keeps going deep and far into these tournaments, and is showing, as we've talked about quite extensively throughout the broadcast over the last couple of weeks, how valuable coaches are becoming in game. They are becoming an intangible asset, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's the really minor decisions that they make in-game that can make such a massive impact. And I don't want to say what changes Enzo makes, because he has told me in confidence, but just little tiny decisions like changing a player's role in that formation can make the biggest of difference going forward if you're behind or if you're ahead. And that is what they offer, and that's why they are so important.
Second half underway here. Nothing to separate the two players after that first half, as you can well see at home on your screens. 1-1 the final score, the half-time score, I should say. It's a lovely little dink ball over there from Roma Damie to find Kai Havertz, just working on this right-hand side. And now we are seeing a little bit more of a slow, methodical build-up play here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder whether that is a word from Enzo, as Damie's now just looking to build up and wait and try and encourage MoAuba to drag some of those players out of position.
And he is doing that, and you can see a little bit of space now opening up, and Da Costa had to be quick there to get across. And we know that high-pressure game that MoAuba likes to play down. You are going to be able to exploit that second man press. If you can time that pass, you might have the opportunity to find space, which Mbappe has now found here for MoAuba. Back to Vieira. Here's CR7. Space for him inside the 18-yard box. Looks towards the back post. And Alexandro got up to get that one away.
Almost the wrong way round. Ronaldo to Messi. It should have been Messi to Ronaldo.
Well, here's Ronaldo inside the box from Mbappe. And MoAuba really putting the pressure onto the Roma man now. Mbappe across the Neymar! That was superb from MoAuba.
It doesn't matter how fast the gameplay is, he just reads it so well. He's almost always one step ahead of where that ball actually is. He knew exactly where he wanted to be passing it, and he knew the finish that needed to be provided at the end as well. And even though I was going to commend the defensive work from Roma Damie, unfortunately, it just wasn't enough, and it's very hard to keep up with play when balls are being ping-ponged around like that.
I mean, just that touch away from the defender. You know, you're kind of desperately trying to stand up if you're a defender in that situation, not commit away, but MoAuba in that situation, he would have had the lights in front of him thinking, this is a goal, but just having that second to take the touch away from his man really did open things up, and he almost opened up Damie once again there with that through ball.
Well, what Damie's trying to attempt to do with his defence as well is he's playing a very high line. He is stepping up to try and encourage the offside trap. He's also trying to bait MoAuba several times with his fullbacks by starting to dart inside, encourage the amount of space that's available, and then suddenly sprinting back, almost as if to say, if you play this pass, you're not going to make it.
Well, defensively, I've got to give huge credit to the way that MoAuba's actually played this game. Certainly been a marked improvement from what we've seen from him in knockout games, but there's one of those little mistakes maybe creeping in there. Something that has cost him a few big games. A little misplaced pass, and we know how they can turn into opportunities for your opponent. Here's Mbappe now for Damie inside the box. Just needs to pick the pass, and he can't do it. Van der Sar comes out. And just about manages to get it away.
And just look at the sheer pace in which MoAuba is pushing that ball to the other end of the pitch. He notices there's a little bit of a gap when Damie does attack, and he leaves a couple of players too far forward. So he's trying to take advantage of that. Didn't come off that time, but I think if MoAuba continues to try and play a high-paced tempo here, he should be able to grab another goal and maybe catch Damie off guard.
That's a great tackle there. One thing I do like is MoAuba's playing a little bit of a deeper line than maybe what we're used to being seeing from him earlier in the season, where he's so aggressive and he's trying to press the ball still, but also he's sort of realising the positions where he can drop off a little bit. Well, now he's going forward again. This is where he's dangerous. Neymar, Criqueta. Overlapping run here from Patrick Vieira, stretching his legs to get into an advanced position. Neymar again, the goal scorer just a moment ago, and almost threaded the needle, but Damie's giving it straight back to him now. Hullet, Vieira exchanging passes. Constant pressure here. What a tackle that is from Alexandro.
And I think that's going to be a warning sign for Damie as well, just to make sure he's not giving that ball away too easily defensively, but he's rushed it again here.
Well, here's Neymar, plays the ball into Mbappe. He gets the wrong side of his man. Van der Sar has to get down, and Dumfries will keep it in play.
I feel like MoAuba really wanted to go near post there as well, but he just couldn't get there. He tried to time it, it was a little bit off, and that's why it's gone right in the dead centre of the goal. So no goalkeeper movement was needed. And of course, predicting which way the goalkeeper's going to go is a massive part of this game.
Well, Van Dijk's out of position here. You can see Neymar. That'll mean there's a man free, and Damie with a huge chance. But he can't beat the huge frame of Edwin van der Sar in goal.
I wonder whether that was one pass too many as well from Damie. The shot was on from the original man, but he just played that extra pass to try and beat the goalkeeper movement, to try and make MoAuba second-guess himself. But MoAuba actually stayed strong and was very resilient with his goalkeeper movement, just stayed right central and only moved him very slightly. If you do overcommit, then it can be a very bad thing. But either way, Damie at least is creating the chances, and Enzo is going to be making a couple of notes in his book. Not the red book, though. That's only for text.
Ball in here from the corner. It's actually going to be a massive chance. We joined the action. It was back underway, and almost immediately we saw an equaliser. Well, for MoAuba, a little bit of respite here as he wins the free kick, but oh my word, that was nearly an equaliser from the set piece.
It's set pieces where I think Damie is going to be at a loss with not playing Cristiano Ronaldo as well. I think he is such a huge impact, his huge frame, the height that he has, the jumping statistics. You need that, I think. So why not bring him on as a sub? I think we must see that from Damie during some of these games, bringing on Cristiano Ronaldo as a substitution.
Kylian Mbappe now in that full-back position, up against Dani da Costa. Vieira now, there's a battle of strength between da Costa and Patrick Vieira, and Vieira comes out on top like he almost always does.
But then there's just so much room, and you can see MoAuba is trying to get that little ping across either of the fullbacks, but Damie again has stepped up well and almost lured him into it once again.
Here comes the Roma man once more then. Inside the last 5 minutes of the first leg, needs to find an equaliser here to tie things up. Neymar can't get around the huge frame of Ruud Gullit there. Such an important tackle at such an important time.
MoAuba not able to keep the ball though. And with just a few minutes left, I would have maybe been more inclined to just pass it around a little bit and not allow Damie to have one more attack.
Well, there's lots of runners here, and R9 with a couple of heel-to-heels. It's a Messi! And just as the referee was looking to put that whistle to his lips, Damie answers back. 2-2 with one of the last kicks of the game.
And just as you were saying, oh, it's a different MoAuba. He's playing a deeper line. He's playing a little bit more slow-paced. He's not focusing on the attack as much. He did give the ball away. He did give that opportunity to Damie by not playing the ball around, by not retaining possession. It was sloppy from MoAuba, and he is going to be frustrated by that. And now we'll be going into the second leg all tied up unless we see a last-minute goal from MoAuba here.
Such a well-worked opportunity, and that little deflection away from his man means that, you know what, Damie might have another chance to go forward and maybe win this game at the end. Messi, the goal scorer's in behind here, the Argentine. Goes up against Ramos, couple of drag backs, back across goal. And MoAuba's hanging on. I think he wants to hear the full-time whistle.
Yeah, he looks a little bit rattled, and he just clears the ball out of play, and the final whistle goes of the first leg, because MoAuba knows he should be going into leg number 2 with a lead there. He allowed Roma Damie back into this game, and Damie's World Cup chances are still alive. I think that's what's important. If he can get that win, he still has hope, but if he loses, he's out.
Yeah, absolutely crazy game that we've just seen there. We'll take a quick look at the highlights where we discuss the game that just happened, because I think that there's one man who sat over there on that station right now is going to be thinking, let's get straight into this second leg. And that is Roma Damie, because he ended that game absolutely on fire.
Yep, he would be. And unfortunately for MoAuba, after such a strong game, it just all comes to nothing. Even though we had the raise of the fist, we had the smiles, that smile was quickly turned upside down into a frown, because things went from bad to worse after he allowed Damie back into this one.
Yeah, a little bit of fortune here for the equaliser, but sometimes fortune favours the brave, like we say. A good finish from Neymar, having been presented with the opportunity. And that wasn't the end of the goals down. The second half brought us plenty more as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we knew there were going to be goals between players like this, and from their history, when they played up against each other, there was 9 goals between them. Yes, okay, 8
What a goal this was, by the way.
But yeah, it's just such good pass and movement from MoAuba. As I said, he predicts where he needs to go constantly. He's always a step ahead of his opponent. But he did let himself down when it came to this final stages of this game. He retained possession and he gave the ball away, and he didn't really need to.
Yeah, we're going to see this equaliser here. Look at the game clock, almost at that 90-minute mark. Lionel Messi, the left foot, which has got all sorts of magic inside it, once again comes up when it counts. Finds the back of the net. You can see the reaction of both of those players. But speaking of players who are currently a little bit nervous, footwiz Marco. He's holding on to 16th spot right now.
He is holding on. I mean, if Damie wins, Marco will be eliminated from the chances of getting onto Team PS4, of getting into the World Cup. So it's going to be so tough.
You don't want to be footwiz Marco right now.
I mean, if we look back at Hamburg and we look at Ajax Joey, who was in 16th place, he got Swissed and he didn't keep 16th position. But realistically, if he'd got through Swiss, got to top 32, he probably would have kept it. Marco has done just that. Maybe he's done enough.
Is it enough?
But it all comes down to what these players outside of the top 16 can do. Can Damie win this game? If he does, he will have the chance then to go to the World Cup.
So many interesting permutations still on the table at this point in the tournament. But one thing that is consistent is MoAuba's smile. And we know we're going to see it, hopefully, a few more times, a few more goals. But for Roma Damie, he's going to be all business. And the only time I think we're going to see him break a smile is if he gets through this second leg and comes out on top and still has a chance of making that top 16.
I mean, I know it's very cliche to say this game could go either way, but the way that both of them are playing, they're defending pretty well, but offensively, they both look so strong, so confident on the ball. They know exactly what they want to do dribbling-wise, and they're also using L1 and R1 to both encourage players towards them and away from them to make those breaking runs, but also to keep possession in the right areas, except for that one situation where MoAuba gave the ball away. And I think that's what he needs to focus on in this next game.
Two very different emotions being shown right now. On your left-hand side of your screen, Footwiz Marco, the man currently holding 16th place. I don't think he knows where to look, to be honest with you. He just wants to come back at the end of the day and see 16th and his name right next to it and to be presented as one of those jackets as part of Team PS4. But for Damie, as I said previously, all business. He knows the job he's got to do. It's just a case of getting it done.
And what a win it would be as well against MoAuba, someone who has been at so many tournaments this year, and that's why he is so far up in the Global Series rankings. He's currently residing in 4th position. He has reached a final as well. We saw him in a console final where he was knocked out by Nicholas, of all people, and I think you don't mind losing to Nicholas. Let's see if he can do anything at this tournament.
Neymar attempted the croqueta around Van Dijk there, but as I've said so many times already over the last few weeks, last couple of weekends, it's a long, long way around Virgil van Dijk.
And it is incredible, really, how these different foot items have worked their way into teams. And we kept asking questions of, like, who was going to be in, who was going to be out. Team of the Year came through, and then, of course, we had the Players of the Year as well that also got put through.
Great ball, speaking of through balls, and that's a great strike across goal! And out of nowhere, a smile on Footwiz Marco's face, because he knows every time MoAuba finds the back of the net, his dreams get a little bit closer to reality. But what a goal that was.
And I tell you what, Marco, get used to being on camera if this victory actually comes out from MoAuba, because every other game in these knockout stages, we're still going to be filming you because you're still in 16th place, and you are the one that everyone is chasing right now. But the closest competitor is Damie, and as it stands, he would not make the World Cup.
Smiles for now, we should say. Smiles with an asterisk. Until all is said and done, it's still going to be a turbulent time here in Berlin for Footwiz Marco. And for Roma Damie, I mean, the task just became a little bit more difficult.
And this is where MoAuba needs to be focusing on this area of keeping the ball, retaining possession, restricting the amount of attacks that Damie actually can have in this game. Frustrating Damie, not only because he's going to be eating away the clock and he has a lead, but the more he holds onto the ball, the more Damie has to push on, the more he has to bring players into the mix, and that's going to leave gaps behind.
And the more he's going to think about the fact that his season could well be over here. Havertz recycles the ball here and somehow finds Cristiano Ronaldo, a player that hasn't found his way into Roma Damie's starting lineup himself, but you can see what he offers here. It's just a strong presence.
And honestly, it still blows my mind that Cristiano Ronaldo isn't playing, and I'm happy to keep bringing it up because I think it's mental. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the best players going forward because of what he offers. But again, it does come down to your play style, and we haven't seen much crosses from Damie. I just think it's...
Said it himself on Twitter, he wasn't going to be throwing the ball into the box.
Exactly, I just think it's set pieces where he loses out mainly. And to be fair, like, it's even the poacher goals that Cristiano Ronaldo gets. Sometimes when you hit it across goal, Cristiano Ronaldo is there waiting in the wings to either go for a header or just even a tap-in. Yes, okay, the likes of Havertz are incredible replacements, but I still think at least bring on Cristiano Ronaldo as a sub at some point in the game.
And he almost found a way to Kai Havertz there on that right-hand side. Rafael Varane had to stretch every sinew of his body to cut out that ball. And another interesting exception to the lineup for Roma Damie, just won the ball back here for MoAuba, and that is that 97 rated Prime Icon Moments R9. We've seen the damage he does in front of goal, but maybe it's going to be Neymar, maybe it'll be Hullet. Everyone's just lining up here for MoAuba, but nobody wants to finish it off. Damie's surviving here. Corner whipped in, Da Costa, Ronaldo's completely free, and the crossbar saves Damie.
And that's what Cristiano Ronaldo can do. But it wasn't timed green, so it didn't go in the back of the net. But you can see the danger that he poses, the threat inside the box from those set pieces, from those corners.
R9 then. Let's see if he can make the difference here. A 2-goal difference might be too much to ask of the Roma man. MoAuba very slow and deliberate, and he's built up, moving up the pitch, but that's a great interception, this time from Kylian Mbappe.
And interceptions like that would provide Damie with some incredible chances, but he just runs into trouble, almost not even looking at his passes.
Oh, and it's Ronaldo, and the striker goal almost beats the goalkeeper! And on the follow-up, it's Havertz! And following up that goal, it's the shot. A foot with Marco. He's beaming.
Now, you said it was going to be a turbulent ride, but maybe that seatbelt sign's going to get turned off soon, because Marco is going to be feeling pretty comfortable with a 2-goal cushion. With MoAuba now leading, and Damie is going to have to answer back here. And some changes already as the pause menu is opened, and he'll be looking at maybe adjusting to a different formation. There are several different options when you're going up against a player like MoAuba, who is very attacking. You want something that's counter-attacking based, so anything that has 4 strikers or 4 attacking players that can quickly get up the other side of the pitch. A 4-2-2 would be very good in this instance.
One thing that did strike me there, I was about to say, was the apparent composure on the face of Roma Damie there, but to give the ball away so easily from the restart. You can't afford to be throwing those opportunities to go forward away, especially with your season on the line, but it's easier said than done. You know, we're watching here and we're super, nervous, and we understand how difficult it is for the players to have an entire season's worth of work hanging in the balance. To have that pad in your hand and have to execute these high-level plays against such an incredible player like MoAuba, it just makes it all so much more difficult to appreciate.
In front of the cameras, in front of the lights, in front of the fans as well, it all adds to the nerves.
Well, maybe we might be adding to the misery here because Sergio Ramos is up. Havertz does the defending.
And the in-game crowd is having a little old boo at the moment because they're not happy. They want to see more goals, as I'm sure everyone at home would also like to see more goals as well. But speaking about the nerves, I mean, if nerves do come into the equation, suddenly your fingers aren't doing the things that you actually want them to do, in a slight mistap of a button or a slight misdirection on a thumbstick, and that can be the difference between qualifying and not qualifying for the E-World Cup.
Well, that's a great switch of the play there, and you can see slowly how he's starting to work his way up the pitch. He has a runner here outside of him. Mbappe with the drag back. The second one just gave Virgil van Dijk a little sight of the ball, and he got a toe on it. And now on the counter-attack, MoAuba is flowing forward. Ronaldo, back to Neymar! That could be it.
And that should be it for MoAuba. He has the experience. He has the tournament pressure in his hands. He knows exactly what he needs to do. 3 goals now ahead of Roma Damie. And it's a very simple task. Hold on to that ball, restrict the chances of your opponent. Don't make any sloppy mistakes, because just one sloppy mistake will allow Damie right back into this game.
The fourth official has indicated,
and for every time that we are seeing a player's potential season come to an end, I've got to say my heart does sink a little bit. So difficult to see this deep into the season, this far into a tournament. But for MoAuba, this is the resurgence that we've been looking for. And what a ball that is in it. Almost found our line at half-time. There's some serious thinking to do here for Roma Damie and his coach, Enzo.
And suddenly, all that pressure that's on Damie for trying to get into that top 16, if he were to be eliminated, it all shifts over to Christian Spiteri. He would be next in line to try and take that top 16 spot. He would be next in line for Footwiz Marco to be watching on, either smiling or maybe frowning, depending on how results go tomorrow. Of course, the competition does carry on until tomorrow. We're only playing the round of 16 games, but we get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and of course finals tomorrow for the PS4 playoffs, and we're going to find out which 16 players do represent Team PS4. We've got 13 already, Mark. Only 3 spots available. And I mean, we're watching the cameras of Footwiz Marco because 14th and 15th, they might be quite comfortable.
I just love watching these photos, to be honest. Videos, I should say. The complete range of emotions being summed up so well by these pictures that we can bring. It says it better than we can, to be honest with you, Dan. You can see how much it means to players. Marco on the right-hand side of your screen, all smiles. You can just see that flicker in the eye, excuse me, as we Sort of scrolled over the face of Damie there. You can see that flicker of doubt start to come in.
Something else that's also on the line in this game, if MoAuba does win, not only does Footwiz Marco keep his possibilities alive, but Zizinho will be locked and secured, and he will get his ticket to the World Cup. He will be on Team PS4. So that's someone else who's going to be watching on with bated breath, I'm sure.
45 minutes left to save your season. Can you do it, Damie? Roma fans, if you're watching in the chat, get behind your man. Send him your energy and will his players forward. 3 goals he needs to pull back to send this to extra time. And he has to keep at bay one of the most attackingly minded players that we have in FIFA 19. Maldini steps in. Step 1, win the ball back.
Whilst it's a very difficult task, 3 goals, it is entirely possible, and Damie definitely has the ability to do so. But it is going to rely on MoAuba making these mistakes. And there is a slight mistake. MoAuba just tapping that pass button a little bit too quickly. But Damie has to take risks at this point. He has to go for risky balls. He has to go for hopeful balls, because it's the only way he's going to get back into this game.
One thing that's impressed me here about MoAuba is there seems to be a little bit more understanding of the match situation than we've seen before. Taking his time in the build-up, valuing the possession of the ball, and that's allowed him to release Neymar.
And that's why, even though that second goal for Damie in the first leg was so detrimental in the first leg, in the grand scheme of things, it might have been a very good thing for MoAuba, because it instantly reminded him of that lesson of, I can't be giving the ball away. I need to hold on to possession. I can't just be stupid on the ball. And that has shown in this second leg that, to be honest, that scared me. MoAuba has looked a lot more calm and collected on the ball.
I think I heard a bit of an exasperated gasp, not just from you, but from, I think it was Damie as well, as that ball almost was intercepted.
Oh, no.
That's an unfortunate touch there for Ruud Gullit. He's really let him down in the middle of the park there, and when you need things to go your way, little moments like that, well, they almost seem to be magnified. Here's R9, here's Havertz, Gullit. The man over here's Da Costa. Oh, it's beautiful. MoAuba. This is the best of him.
And you were asking me, we're going to see the smile of MoAuba, or are we going to see a little frown? We always see the smile, but on the other side of the stage, I mean, we're obviously looking at Damie, but Enzo had his head in his hands. I know that he takes his coaching very seriously. He took it on the chin when Tex lost his game in the final in Hamburg. And Enzo almost feels like it's a responsibility of his to get the victory for the player.
He
but
lives through them.
as a coach, you can only do so much. You can only prepare them, and you can only give them advice. You don't have the thumbs on those sticks. And unfortunately for Enzo, he just has to watch on, as Damie now is 4 goals behind, with very little chance of getting back in this game with the way that MoAuba has been playing.
And that was such a well-worked goal there from MoAuba as well. A little dink over the top to find his overlapping fullback. He delivered the ball into the front post, and a beautiful little header just over the goalkeeper. It looks so simple, but it's level to execute something like that is so, so tough. And this is some of the best FIFA 19 I've seen MoAuba be playing in a long time, to be honest with you.
And so what does that mean for E-World Cup then? What does it mean for Team PS4? It's Christian Spiteri who is next in line. He will have to face up against Fafilza tomorrow. So he's going to have to beat someone who is on fine form if he wants to progress and have that chance at the E-World Cup.
Speaking of form, there's only one man who seems to have found it at the right time of the season. And that's MoAuba, almost adding another one there. 6-2 on aggregate now. And you feel that every chance the Roma man creates here has to beat the goalkeeper, has to find the back of the net. Here's Vieira, trying to drive the troops forward here. Great pressure again from MoAuba. Now Gullit into Neymar. R9 goes for the Elastico. Gullit can't win the ball back off Vieira. Nothing is going for Damie here, and MoAuba, well, one question we've always had, Dan, is defensively, can he stand up against some of the best in the world? He's answering that.
He is. He's really shown up when he needs to, and the real question, I guess, is can he carry on this form into the latter stages of this tournament so he can try and secure himself a victory, because boy, would that give him so much momentum and so much confidence going into the E-World Cup if he can actually get a first place finish, because it's all well and good getting the Global Series ranking points, getting your second places, getting your top fours, but everyone's going to remember the winner of the FIFA E-World Cup. No one's going to be talking about second place, no one's going to be talking about third. It's just that winner. That's what it all comes down to. And if MoAuba can put himself in a situation where he knows he can win tournaments, then certainly he's going to be feeling a little bit more fresh-faced when we do see him at the E-World Cup.
And credit to Damie here. He's trying everything to try and get back into this game. There's the heel-to-heel to buy some space. Turns back and finds Neymar. R9 tries to get the strike away. Nothing falling his way at the moment. Da Costa bullies Mbappe off the ball. And again, it's MoAuba just having his way.
And maybe MoAuba can look for more goals as well. Messi plays it into Vieira, but it's going to be cut out from Damie. And it is too late. I think both players know at this point 4 goals this quickly is not going to happen, especially with how MoAuba has been defending, especially with how well MoAuba has been holding this ball. But we have to give a shout out to Damie and how well he's played and how close he's come to actually qualifying for the E-World Cup.
Cristiano Ronaldo almost finds the ball inside some Neymar there for another opportunity at goal for MoAuba. But this does look like the end of the road here for Damie. He's only got 9 minutes to find 4 goals. Every single strike's going to have to go in. R9, maybe this is one. And sometimes you can have an entire tournament summed up in one shot.
And I guess the one thing that I am going to mention as the final passing thought on Damie is the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, is not playing a player of that caliber on your team. Fair enough if he's not in your starting lineup and you bring him on as a super sub. We've not seen that in either legs as Cristiano Ronaldo been introduced. And I do think it has made an impact to the games. I think that Cristiano Ronaldo is just too strong a foot item to leave out of your squad. I respect the fact he's got so far, but maybe Ronaldo will put the final nail in the coffin. He doesn't. But unfortunately, Damie is not able to get far enough.
Just a few minutes to go here for the referee to end what has been a result we've known for a while. Maybe time for a little victory lap here from MoAuba. It has been one hell of an effort from Roma Damie to try and pull off the impossible feat, to be honest with you. It's such a tall order to come from the position that he's in at the moment in the Global Series rankings to steal a spot on Team PS4. And to do it, you have to beat some of the best in the world. And he's not been able to get past one of those, MoAuba.
And it's going to be $10,000 more for MoAuba, and it's also going to be a place in the quarterfinals where he's going to go up against Nicholas, that one man who robbed him away of that tournament win way back when in a different FUT Champions Cup.
Smile, Marco. One of the best in the world, and defensively he's been absolutely superb. But something else for you guys to check out at home is that man on your screen. Zizinho has made it onto Team PS4. Huge performance from him, and you can see what it means to him. The Team Hullet man giving the fist pumps and feeling good about himself.
Yeah, with the players that are left in the tournament, it's impossible for more than a couple to actually catch and get more points than him. But let's take a look at the highlights from that game. It was a very impressive performance from MoAuba indeed, and I'm sure that Nicholas, he's not going to be scared to face